Hello, my dear children. Children, in the class today we'll continue triangle law and parallelogram law we started last time. Last time we studied graphical approach to find out the sum of two vectors. And today we'll treat both these laws mathematically. So let's study the mathematical treatment of triangle law or parallelogram law to find out sum of two vectors. When two adjacent sides of a parallelogram represents two different vectors, both in magnitude as well as direction, then diagonal of parallelogram through them is their vector sum. Triangle law says that if two adjacent sides of a triangle represent two different vectors in order, in the same order, then the third closing side in opposite order is their vector sum. So both the laws are used to find out sum of two vectors. We can use either of the two laws. This is A, B and this is diagonal, they are resultant. And if we shift this B parallel to itself and bring it here, this also becomes B vector. So this is A vector, this is B vector in the same order, and this is closing side of the triangle in opposite order. So whether we use parallelogram law, we get the same resistance, same value of resultant, or we use triangle law, we get the same value of resultant. Now we are going to work out a mathematical relation for magnitude of sum of two vectors and also a mathematical relation for direction of the resultant. Well, there are certain constructions we are going to do here. Let us extrapolate this line of action of vector number 1, that is A, and from the tip of vector B, let's draw normal here, and this normal cuts say here. This is point A, this is point B, this is point C, this is point D, and say this is point E. This vector is B, this length is B, and this is B vector. This is angle theta, therefore this angle is also going to be theta. Now in this right angle triangle, what is base BC? What is this base BC? This base BC is x, and this x is going to be B cos theta. We have already studied resolution of vectors. So if this is B, if this is length B, then this length is going to be B cos theta. Well, if this length is B, this angle is theta, this is right angle triangle, then this length which is perpendicular of this right angle triangle is going to be what? B sin theta. B sin theta. If we are not able to work out resolution method to find out x and y, we can find out the value of cos theta from the same triangle. What is cos theta? Cos theta is base upon hypotenuse. Base is x and hypotenuse is what? B. This simply means x is going to be what? B cos theta. You can do this when you do not understand the resolution. And if we find out the value of sin theta from this triangle, well, sin theta is going to be, sin theta in any right angle triangle is the ratio of perpendicular to hypotenuse. So perpendicular is y and hypotenuse is b. This simply means y is going to be b sin theta, and that is what we have written here. Now let us look at this bigger right angle triangle. This is of course a right angle triangle. This is also a big right angle triangle. Well, why do we take this big right angle triangle? Because in this big right angle triangle is this diagonal, which is the resultant, or third closing side of the triangle, which is the resultant. So in any right angle triangle, all of you know the square of hypotenuse is always equal to sum of squares of base and perpendicular. What is hypotenuse? This hypotenuse is c square. What is base? Base is going to be a plus x. The base of this triangle is what? A plus x. And what is perpendicular? Perpendicular of course is what? y. If we substitute the value of x and y, yeah, what do we get c square as? We get c square as a plus b cos theta whole square plus b sin theta whole square. And if you open up the brackets, what do we get? C square is equal to a square plus b square cos square theta plus 2ab cos theta. This is the square of this. And what is square of b sin theta? Square of b sin theta is b square sin square theta. Now from these two terms, we can take b square as common. So what do we get c square as? We get c square as a square plus b square. In the bracket we get what? Cos square theta plus sin square theta. And the last term is 2ab cos theta. Well, all of us know that sine of square of theta plus cos of square of theta is 1 for every angle. Therefore, this value is going to be 1. This simply means c is going to be what? C square is going to be what? A square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So what is the value of c? Value of c is going to be a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. This is the value of c. This c is nothing but the resultant. This is the magnitude of resultant. Magnitude of resultant. Magnitude of resultant or magnitude of vector sum. So this is all very simple. From this right angle triangle we find out the base and perpendicular, and from this big right angle triangle we find out this hypotenuse. And the length of the hypotenuse is nothing but magnitude of vector sum. What is direction of vector sum? For finding out the direction of vector sum, well, we have to find out either this angle or this angle. Let us say this angle is alpha. So value of alpha can be found out from this right angle triangle, the same big right angle triangle. And what is this? Tangent of alpha. Tangent of alpha is going to be perpendicular upon base. Perpendicular is what? B sin theta, and base is what? Base is a plus x, that is a plus b cos theta. This is the angle of resultant, the angle which the resultant makes. This is the angle which the resultant C makes with A. So with this we express the direction of the sum of the two vectors. If we find out this angle beta, for that we have to extrapolate this and draw normal in this direction. We'll take this right angle triangle and then the bigger right angle triangle exactly in the same way. We'll work out and we'll find out tangent of beta as simply A and B are going to be interchanged. A sin theta upon, we'll get what? B plus A cos theta. So this is angle which the resultant makes with B, and this is angle which resultant C makes with what? A. So from any of these two angles we can express the direction of the resultant. Now children, there are three situations. There are three cases, and the result of all these cases should be over your lips and tips. These three cases are for the first three different types of vectors which we have studied. These three cases are for first three types of vectors which we have already studied in lecture number 13 of vectors. So case number 1 is for parallel vectors. Parallel vectors. What are parallel vectors? Parallel vectors are those vectors which are in the same direction. If two vectors A and B are parallel, they are in the same direction. An angle between these vectors is what? 0. And what is cos of 0? Cos of 0 is going to be 1. So what is going to be the sum of these two vectors? Sum of these two vectors is going to be, yes, we are going to use this relation to find out the sum of two vectors. And since cos of 0 is going to be 1, cos of 0 is going to be 1, then vector sum is going to be what? This a square plus b square plus 2ab. This is vector sum in case 1 because cos of 0 is 1. So what is this c? This c is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, and that cos theta is 1. And this quantity within the square root is nothing but a plus b whole square. And this whole square and square root, they cancel out. What do we get c as? We get c as a plus b. This is vector sum. This is simple sum. If two vectors are parallel, the sum of two vectors is simple sum. This simple sum is also called as scalar sum. 10 plus 10 is 20. If 10 and 10 are scalar quantities. And same thing happens here in vector sum also, provided vectors are parallel. If 10 and 10 unit vectors are parallel to each other, then vector sum would be what? Their simple sum. And that would be what? 10 plus 10, 20. And direction. What is direction of resultant? If we find out the direction of resultant, we use this formula or this formula, and in both the formulas, if we substitute theta 0, sin 0 is 0, sin 0 is 0 here, so what do we get? We get tan alpha 0 or tan beta 0. That means alpha and beta are 0. Alpha beta 0 doesn't mean that there is no direction. Alpha beta 0 means the direction of the resultant is in the same direction as is the direction of A and B. This is C. The direction of C is that of either of the two vectors. In whichever direction is A, in the same direction as B, and in the same direction is also their resultant. So this is situation 1, case 1. When two vectors are parallel, their vector sum is their simple sum, and direction of resultant is that of either of the two vectors. Well, in case 2, we have anti-parallel vectors. Anti-parallel vectors. That is also the second type of vector you have studied. Anti-parallel vectors. Well, vectors are anti-parallel when they are in opposite direction. If this is A and this is B, well, the vectors are what? Anti-parallel vectors. And we know angle between anti-parallel vector is what? Angle between anti-parallel vector is 180 degree. And what is cos of 180? Cos of 180 is minus 1. We know the formula of resultant. The formula of resultant which we know is what? A square plus B square plus 2ab cos theta. And in this particular case, theta is 180 degree and cos of 180 is minus 1. That means for this cos theta we write minus 1. And when we write minus 1 here, what do we get? We get minus sign here. So this is what is vector sum in situation number 2. And this is what? C. This C is equal to A square plus B square minus 2AB whole square root. This is what is the vector sum in situation number 2. And this quantity within the bracket is nothing but square of A minus B, or it is also square of B minus A. This quantity within square root is A minus B whole square, or it is also B minus A whole square. And this square and square root cancels out. So what do we get C? We get C as A difference B. This is the value of resultant if two vectors are antiparallel. Remember, this is sign of difference. Sign of difference means whichever is greater, from that we subtract the smaller one. This is value of vector sum, and remember this vector sum is what? Minimum. In this situation, vector sum is minimum, and vector sum is what? simple difference. Simple difference. Sum of two vectors, if they are anti-parallel, is their simple difference. If 10 unit vector and 10 unit vector are anti-parallel, vector sum would be what? Their simple difference. And difference of 10 and 10 is going to be what? 0. That means we get null vector in that situation. If a vector is of magnitude 15, another is of magnitude say 12, and if they are anti-parallel, vector sum would be what? 15 minus 12, that is 3. So if the vectors are anti-parallel, their vector sum is their simple difference. And what about direction? Direction is that of the bigger one. Direction of the resultant is that of the bigger one. If two vectors are anti-parallel, then direction of resultant is the direction of the bigger of the two vector. If bigger vector is towards right, then the resultant is also towards right. If bigger vector is towards left, then the direction of resultant is also towards left. Remember, the resultant is simple difference in this case. Case 3. In case 3, well, we have perpendicular vectors. We have perpendicular vectors. Perpendicular vectors. And these perpendicular vectors, we all know, obvious from the name itself, are vectors which have angle 90 degree in between their relative directions. This theta is 90 degree. And we all know that cos of 90 is what? We all know cos of 90 is what? 0. And if we try to find out the sum of these two using this formula of resultant, which is what? A square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta whole square. And if we write cos 90 0 here, then this whole term becomes 0. And what do we get C as? We get C as a square plus b square square root. That means the resultant in this case is going to be what? A square plus b square whole square root. This is the resultant in this situation. Well, this resultant can also be found out right from here. No need going back to the formula of resultant. We can work out the value of resultant right from here. If this is vector A, this is B, well, they are perpendicular to each other. We can complete the parallelogram. Yeah, the parallelogram is going to be rectangle in this case. This is going to be the diagonal of parallelogram. This is resultant C. Well, if this is A, this is B. If this is B, this side is also going to be B. So what is C? C is hypotenuse of this right angle triangle. And this C is going to be what? Square root of sum of squares of perpendicular and base. And that is what is C. What is angle of resultant? Yeah, angle of resultant alpha. We can find out from the formula or directly from here. Tangent of angle alpha is going to be perpendicular upon base, that is B upon A. So angle the resultant C makes with A is B upon A, length of B upon length of A. We can also find out same thing with the help of the formula. Sin 90 is 1, cos 90 is 0. We are left with B into 1, that is B in the numerator, and A plus 0, that is A in the denominator, B upon A. So we can use formula, or here even without formula we can work out these values right from this rectangle, that is the parallelogram we made. So these are three situations, and we must have the result of all these three situations over our lips and tips, and we have to apply these results directly in our numericals. There is one more statement, that is not case 4, but there is one more statement which you can write down as node. Yeah, what is that node? The node is if two vectors are of equal magnitude. If two vectors are of equal magnitude, their resultant lies exactly midway. Yeah, if two vectors are of equal magnitude,
then the resultant lies exactly midway. That means in this case, you don't need to use any formula, you can straightaway write down the direction. Why it is so? It is so simply because if two adjacent sides of parallelogram are of equal length, then their diagonal is also their angle bisector. So what is the logic behind this note? This note says that if two vectors are of equal length, then the diagonal, the real resultant is exactly midway. Exactly midway. But why? This is simply because if two adjacent sides of parallelogram are of equal length, then the diagonal is also their angle bisector. So with this logic, we can straightaway write down the direction of the resultant provided given vectors are of equal length. So children, all these three cases, the result of all these three cases should be over your lips and tip. I am going to speak out all three results. The way I am speaking, you should also be able to speak out. Case 1. Case 1 is for parallel vectors. If vectors are parallel, their vector sum is what? Simple sum. And this is also maximum value of sum of two vectors. And direction of resultant is that of either of the two vectors. Case 2. If vectors are antiparallel, their vector sum is what? Simple difference. Simple difference. And in this case, vector sum is minimum. And direction of the resultant is that of the bigger one. And if two vectors are perpendicular to each other, the vector sum is square root of sum of their squares. Square root of sum of their squares. And the resultant lies somewhere in between. And what is that somewhere? For that we have to find out either this angle or this angle. If we find out this angle, we get perpendicular upon base, tangent of this angle is perpendicular upon base, and from this right angle triangle, if we find out this angle, we get perpendicular upon base. That is tan beta is A upon B, tan alpha is B upon A. And finally, this node, if two vectors are of equal magnitude, then their resultant lies exactly midway. And the logic behind this is what? If two adjacent sides of parallelogram are of equal length, then the diagonal of the parallelogram is also their angle bisector. See, the result of all these three cases along with this node is in our mind all the time. It has to be over your lips and tips, and you have to apply this result directly. So with this we come to the end of today's class. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.